It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. Thank you for joining us for our Friday Agile Not So Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up Podcast. Today I want to do a re recording of the July 14th episode where we talked about building and sharing what you have, your time, your talents, and your gifts. And this is just so important. And one of the things that I realized is that I've learned so many things through staying active and busy in my church. So, one of the things that our church does, we have these things called church callings. Basically, what it is, it's a volunteer effort to help uplift others and to help do things to help people just have a better life in general. I mean, there's a lot to it. But with that being said, mine is I have an opportunity to work with individuals within our congregation to help them with any kind of special needs they might have with regard to employment or with regard to emotional well-being or with regard to finding a better job or with regard to building your own business. So there are a lot of different things that I do as part of my calling. And what I can tell you is that there are certain things about my calling that I love, and there are other things that drive me a little bit crazy. And I wanted to start with something that will help us all. Now, in an effort to help and uplift others, what I found is that there's two different categories of people. There's one group of people who want to be empowered to live better lives and to do things, and they'll take any tool, tip, trick, anything you can give them to help them be better and to help them be uplifted, and they will apply those things and they will really do a fantastic job. And then the second set of people are the ones who want to be enabled, and they want to be enabled to continue down a path of bad behavior. They do, in the long run, want something different or better, but they're not concerned about tying that to a goal today, if you will. They want to figure out ways that they can still be better and do better, but not necessarily tie it to what's happening now. They want someone to give them the upper hand now so that sometime later they can do something if possible. It's not even a concept of pay it forward, it's a concept of I need help now. What are you going to do for me? And those type of things frustrate me because I really feel like if you want to help others, that you need to use your time and talents to uplift other people. So there are lots of stories and parables in the Bible, in the Quran, and in other scriptures that talk about sharing our gifts with others. And one that's a common story that's told is the story of the widow's mite. And it's a story, it's a Christian based story, but the way it works is many people were going to a temple and they were doing their offerings and their tithes. And it was quite impressive to see the most wealthy, giving large amounts. And the thing that was disappointing was that it was almost as if they were doing it publicly to show everyone else, hey, look at what I have. Hey, look at what I can do. Hey, look, I can give this much. It was almost like a public display, and it wasn't intended. Even though the money or the tithes could be used to uplift those who didn't have much, the intent wasn't to say, look at how I can help others. The intent was, look at how wealthy I am and my ability to be able to do this. And this is where things got kind of nasty, right? Um, it was more of a show off session than anything else. And you can sense that many people were like, oh, brother, it's just, you come dressed in your finest clothes and you give what you give a larger amount than anyone else. And, if it was for the right reasons, then yes, if your heart was in the right spot and you were doing it the right way and you were humble about it, then it makes sense. But humility was completely missing. And they had one widow who came and she gave just a mite, the smallest amount of financial donation she could possibly give. And you could tell that was very hard for her to part with that. And the parable says who gave the most, and of course, the widow who gave, who lost everything and gave all that she had, was the one who gave the most. Way more than any of these other individuals who gave so much more, physically. So, with that being said, we need to make sure we're bound and have a good understanding of our temporal blessings and our spiritual blessings and how we can tie those things together. So, for me, I want to start with time. One of the tricks that I learned with time is a concept of good, better, best. There are always good things we can be doing with our time, and good things aren't bad. They're not wasteful. They're not things that we need to avoid, but good things are just good. You need to ask yourself, is there something better I could be doing with that time? Could I be using this time to uplift someone else? Could I be using this time to do something for my family? Could I be using this time to do anything else other than what I'm doing, and it would be deemed more valuable both physically and spiritually? And I think that we all have that, right? But then there's the best time, the time that we're serving those who can't serve themselves, the time that we're spending inside of temples and worshiping, and the time that we're spending doing anything we can to uplift other people who don't necessarily have the ability to do it themselves. The times where we fast and go into deep prayer and really support and uplift others. And I think that if we get better handle of our time, it's going to help us with the second topic. The second topic is talents. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been given so many, my cup overfloweth with talent. And it's not a bragging way. It's just, I have so many things that have been given to me that it is my responsibility at this point to give things back. And that if I want any of my talents to be amplified, that I have to share those talents with others. And I think that sometimes we've been blessed with talents, but we hide those talents under a bushel or we don't share them with other people. And our talent will dwindle and go away. Part of our calling is to be responsible and to uplift others using our talent. And the last one is gifts. Now, gift is interesting. Gift is something that can either be permanent or temporary. My son, who's serving a 2-year church mission down in Mexico City, Mexico now, has told us that when his plane landed in Mexico City, he felt like, even for a short time, that he had the gift of tongues, that he could understand perfectly in Spanish what everyone was saying, and that he was able to speak back and reply and communicate, which is incredible, considering that he only had 2 weeks of formal Spanish training before then. So if you think about it, I guess what I'm trying to say is we're all blessed in the right time to have certain gifts bestowed upon us. But the question is, what do we do with those gifts? Do we use those gifts and share those gifts to help other people have success? Or do we use those gifts for our own personal gain and disregard what we can do for others? And I think that if we leverage all three of these things, that we can benefit, but not only can we benefit, but our cup will runneth over if we do things for other people. So I guess what I'm trying to say is at Agile Dad, we always look for ways to uplift others, and I hope that you'll take these same principles and practices and apply them in your personal life like I have. So it's our responsibility to do something. So my challenge to you is to get out next week and do something. Help uplift some folks, help bring people to where they need to be, and remember to share what you have. And if you do, I promise that in the end, you'll be the one with the blessings and you'll be the winner. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.